Hey VC, Big Star 1000 with an installment of Revolutions records played in the past few days. Just to mix it up a little bit because I've been doing some Gimme Tens and just, I play other records than the records that I show you in the Gimme Tens. So here they are without further ado. And they're in no particular order, they're just the way they were in the stack. The Sound from the Lion's Mouth. This is a record from 1980 or 81. This is one of my favorite post-punk records. I always come back to this one. Sound are kind of a hybrid between Joy Division, The Teardrop Explodes, and Echo and the Bunnymen, with a little bit of early U2 thrown in. This record is stunning. Every song is amazing, and if you want a great post-punk album, I strongly recommend. It's on Corova, same label as Echo and the Bunnymen. The band was fronted by Adrian Boland, who committed suicide. Terrible story. This morning I was playing Stand By Haldon, the French progressive electronic band, which is basically Richard Pinas. It's just the name for his project. This is one of their best records in my opinion. It's a really atmospheric, beautiful number on Egg Records. I mean, all their records are worth checking out, but if you're going to pick two or three just that stand out, this one is I would highly recommend. It's very brooding and atmospheric records from 1979 on Egg Records. Here is a new release, a new-ish release. It's a release from this year, 2018, and the band's called Tropical Fuck Storm. There you go, Tropical Fuck Storm, and the record's called A Laughing Death in Meat Space. Tropical Fuck Storm are basically half of a band called the Drones. You've got here Gareth Lydiard, and Fiona Kitchen is in there as well. And the two other girls that play with them are Erica Dunn and Lauren Hamill. This is a really great sort of blues punk, art punk record. If you like Gareth Lydiard, his voice, what he sounds like, he's got this kind of deadpan, kind of sardonic way of delivering very clever lyrics. If you enjoyed the last Drones record, you will enjoy this record massively. It's great. It's comes very highly recommended. Well, I was playing this morning, and this morning I also revisited this, which is an amazing piece of music. Still, 20 years after the fact. The debut LP by Rage Against the Machine, or maybe it could have been the second album, but the one that sort of broke them out. The phenomenal band, which is fronted by Zach de la Rocha and Tom Morello, an amazing guitar player, really. And when I was a teenager, about 20 years ago, I listened to this incessantly around 1993 or 1994, or a bit later. Amazing record with Bomb Track and Killing in the Name and Bullet in the Head. Just great. In a completely different style, this record that everybody should own, something else, Cannonball Adderley and Miles Davis, and other great players. This is a Japanese pressing on King Records, which is a really they do a really good job of pressing records. It's from I think the late 70s, from what I can gather. This is an amazing, you know, post-bop record. I mean, it's probably as essential as Kind of Blue, if not, you know, superior to Kind of Blue in some ways. It's a brilliant, brilliant record. It's a great late night record. Maybe I'll just continue with some other jazz that I've been playing. This is a jazz funk record, which is just really superb. Moon Germs by Joe Farrell on CTI from 1970. What year is this from? 1972, yes. As you can see, featuring a killer lineup of Herbie Hancock, Stanley Clarke, and Jack DeJohnette on drums. This is really, really funky, electric funk, in the style of Herbie Hancock, really. Just a killer record, Moon Germs by Joe Farrell. The opening track, Great Gorge, is absolutely killer. Just a brilliant, brilliant song, or track rather. Okay. I was doing this Give Me 10 on the Airs to the West Coast. I don't know if you've watched it. And Vinyl, I think it was Vinyl Richie, I hope I'm not getting this wrong, who suggested Best Coast. And I was thinking of putting Best Coast in there because, you know, she's the sound of California through and through. This is I think the debut album, or at least the one that just, again, made a bit more famous at the time. This is from 2013 from memory, 2010, sorry, even earlier. It's called Crazy For You. It's really catchy, sort of power pop, indie, you know, with very strong West Coast overtones. She's a Californian and she's very proud of it. I think she's even got a map of California tattooed on her forearm. The main girl, she's called Bethany Cosentino, hence the band's called Best Coast. You know, that's just a kind of a play on word. A great dub record, Starship Africa, Creation Rebel. This is a dub classic from 1980 on the label On You Sound. This is a reissue, this one. And it was produced, I think, by Adrian Sherwood, who is also responsible for African Head Charge, you know, and I mean the On You Sound label. This is just 2 or 3 tracks. It's absolutely brilliant, like really spacey dub. I mean, dub, you know, what can I say? Just take a listen to it. The other day we had a great session at Anthony Camplone's house, Campo, and Campo pulled out this record here, and it made me want to listen to it again. This is music from Big Pink, the classic album by The Band, a band called The Band. And Big Pink, if you didn't know, is the house they recorded the record at. And the painting is a Bob Dylan painting, and obviously this is also very heavily linked with the Basement Tapes, because the band played at the same kind of time with Dylan. Yeah, it's just a classic Americana roots rock record. I'm planning, I think, a Gimme 10 on roots rock. That kind of, I think it'll be a good subject to discuss in a Gimme 10. Music from Big Pink. Not in a terribly dissimilar style. although not the same. But at the moment, I'm revisiting a lot of James Taylor. I don't know why, I've fallen in love with this singer again. You know, his delivery, his lyrics are great. This is Mudslide Slim and the Blue Horizon. It came out in 1971, right after Sweet Baby James, I think. And this is, again, I mean, I could have included this in my Laurel Canyon video, because really it's a Laurel Canyon folk record. It features Carole King and Joni Mitchell. And just a really nice. I mean, there's nothing extraordinary about it. I mean, you know, it's not going to blow your mind or in any way, shape, or form. It's just a really nice record, you know. And a record collection is, you know, it's filled with a good record collection should have some nice records that you can just, you know, chill out to, and some killer records, like for example this one. No, I think I'm not sure it's exactly killer, but it's a great piece of music in my opinion. Emmett Rhodes. Emmett Rhodes, again, another Californian. He's sort of a genius, because every note on this album was written and played and sung by Emmett Rhodes himself. I remember reading a review which labeled this album the best LP McCartney never made, which is really, really absolutely on point. Emmett Rhodes sounds like Paul McCartney a lot, and probably this is the biggest sort of bother that maybe people might have with Emmett Rhodes, is that he sounds too much like Paul McCartney, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I love Ram and, you know, those early McCartney records, and thus I love this too. Listen to With My Face on the Floor, or you know, Fresh as a Daisy, Should Be Ashamed, Live Till You Die. Beautiful record from 1971, I think, and he was from California. Another classic, Pretzel Logic by The Dan. Yeah, top-notch record, one of the best, really. Opens with Ricky Don't Lose a Number, which is probably just about the most iconic Steely Dan song there is. This is it's a great album. Okay, very polished, the sound is, you know, is what you'd expect from Steely Dan, but when you get past the, you know, the engineering, you get past the production, you get something really good in there. Steely Dan. At the moment, just in the background, you probably can't hear it, but I'm listening to this fine electronic record. It's Dan Deacon, and it's called Bromst. It's from 2000 and, oh, I can't tell you. Look it up. And it's it's a bit like Caribou, if you know Caribou. And I think he's Canadian as well, Dan Deacon, from memory. I might be wrong. I recommend this. This is good. This is a lovely late night record. John Coltrane Quartet ballads with the classic quartet, obviously. This is just an excellent Coltrane record. Again, very highly recommended, especially, as I said, a late night record. It's just wonderful. I mean, there's very little Coltrane that is bad. I mean, most Coltrane is worth listening to, and this is no exception. Okay, how am I going to for time? 14 minutes. Okay, I've still got a few, not many, but Fleet Foxes, Helplessness Blues, their second record. I've been just digging back into this one because of the West Coast series that I've been doing, so I've been digging back into this one. This is a great record, possibly better than the first record. I just really love their voices and their songs. They're great. For the first time in about 5 or 6 years, I played Triple O Honey. I've got every sort of 70s Van Morrison record there is, and I tend to go for Veedon Fleece or Astral Weeks, perhaps most of the time, but I very rarely go for Triple O Honey. Still on the turntable, so it's still floppy. And this is just, yeah, a great record with Wild Night and the title track, Triple O Honey. I Want to Rue You, a great song. I've got a 7-inch here. I got myself a copy of the Mod Life Phase 2 7-inch, which was just released like probably a month ago or 3 weeks ago, and it's just 2 tracks. It's a very sort of mid-period Can photo there, or I don't know, or something like that, you know, or Noi or Can. It's very krautrock-esque, or maybe it's a bit like a Turkish Anatolian rock record, you know. It's a great 7-inch. One day it'll be a collectible. Probably is already. Okay. This band, which I don't visit very often, this is the only record I have by them. A band called Brinsley Schwarz, and they're fronted by Nick Lowe. And so you'd expect kind of like a mindless pub rock or something. What would you say, mindless? I mean, there's lots of these pub rock bands from the 70s in England, and a lot of them end up sounding like each other. But this is a great, it's a really great West Coast rock record. It's a bit like an America record, you know. And the interesting thing is, them and America were from the UK, both of them. This is an English band through and through, but they do like West Coast folk rock almost better than people from California. It's amazing. Brinsley Schwarz, great. This morning I woke up to the Soft Boys, Underwater Moonlight, and I really love this record. I've been a fan of this record for many years, maybe over a decade of love for this, and I continue to be blown away by it. Soft Boys were from Canterbury, and the best way to sum them up is sort of a post-punk kind of Pink Floyd meets post-punk, you know, like if you imagine Wire and Pink Floyd having a jam session, that's the Soft Boys, or maybe the Soft Machine and yeah, and Joy Division. Kingdom of Love is beautiful. I Want to Destroy You, Positive Vibrations, Tonight, the title track. Robyn Hitchcock, you know, he doesn't do very many things wrong. Here's a new record, American Utopia, David Byrne. I'm going to go and see David Byrne live in Melbourne in about 2 months. I think it's on 24th of November, so I decided to buy his new album because that's the name of the tour, American Utopia Tour. I want to hear what this sounds like, and I heard this once already, and I enjoyed it. It didn't blow me away, but I enjoyed it enough. I mean, David Byrne, for crying out loud. How bad can it be? And finally, last but not least, is the latest Floating Points record, which came out last year in 2017. Very Joy Division-esque, this sleeve. And this is called Mojave Desert Reflections. And Sam Shepard goes into a very different territory from Elenia. It's just a superb recording. It's very psychedelic and drony and ambient and Floyd-esque. That's all I'm going to say for now. Until next time, VC.